Commanders, the Remastered collection is finally out and my final impression will be out tomorrow, so stick around to watch my final review on Command & Conquer Remastered collection. Red here, and the game hasn't even been out for 24 hours and Jim Vasella already gave us a lengthy update post on Reddit about the remastered game stuttering and online stability. Now I have had quite a few problems with the game so far, that being frame rate issues, stuttering, and I have not been able to play an online game yet. I've tried to play 3 games. First game crashed, the second and third game the game just froze and nobody could play, nobody could select any units. Well, we could select units, we just couldn't move them at all. So I have not been able to play online at all, therefore I will only have my final impressions of the game tomorrow. Hopefully I will have a chance to play some online before then. But as I said, Jim Vasella updated us with a lengthy Reddit post. I have not read this yet, so it's going to be my first time going through it, and I'm also going to react as I read through it. It is quite a lengthy post, so I'm going to start at the top and then just read through it, react as I go along. The post started as follows, quote, "Fellow Command & Conquer fans, the game has now been live for several hours and we're already getting a ton of feedback from the community across all our channels. We're actively reviewing this feedback, and just like we did with the community council when they started playing the game, we will begin prioritizing these items going forward. Our goal is to continue maintaining a transparent dialogue with all of you as we make this transition into post-launch support, and we're not going to hide from issues within the game. With that in mind, we've been tracking 2 primary issues since the launch earlier today. Online stability. The first issue is the online stability of the game has been troublesome during the launch today. We've seen some games getting disconnected, occasional quick matches games failing upon load, and times when the online services are down completely. This is not the experience we wanted you to have with the Remastered collection upon launch, and for that we sincerely apologize." End quote. Now I'm just going to stop here quickly because those are the 2 issues that I've been having. I mean, the quick launch matches just stops and some of the other ones just gets disconnected before the game actually starts. So I'm glad those are the 2 main issues that they're going to address. Continuing with the post, quote, "The team is working on further optimizations to the online infrastructure and how to efficiently expand server capacity in this launch window of high demand. While we know many of you are eager to get into multiplayer, we certainly hope you can enjoy the campaign, skirmish, or play with a new piece of UGC while we work on these issues." Game stuttering. The second issue is that we are seeing reports of players who are experiencing game stuttering while playing in both single and multiplayer. We had heard isolated incidents of this issue over the past few weeks with pre-launch players, but we were unable to gather enough data and diagnose the exact cause in our research prior to launch. Here's what we know so far. The stuttering seems to happen most often in the first playthrough of early missions, or when large armies of units are clashing during open battles or base attacks. The stuttering seems worst if it's the first playthrough after restarting your computer. The stuttering doesn't seem to happen as much or at all if you're in the legacy graphics mode. Early reports show the issue is much more prevalent if the game is installed on a standard hard drive versus an SSD. These data points lead us to believe the issue is tied to something like texture loading, as the game attempts to load the remastered textures for the first time during a playthrough. The team is working on gathering more data from players to discover further patterns on hardware configurations. We admit this issue has been a little more difficult to diagnose, as we do not have access to our standard QA PC lab of hardware due to the pandemic. If you're encountering this issue and would like to help us gather more data, please consider posting your experience hardware configuration here on this Reddit thread or on the EA technical support forums. In the meantime, if you're encountering this stuttering issue, we have the following suggestions based on the information we've gathered so far. If you have an SSD drive, we recommend installing the game to that drive. Try changing the resolution to a lower one, then back to the original resolution. Before playing, close all web browsers and other applications which could use video RAM, or actively ping the hard drive. While certainly annoying, consider starting a mission and then reloading it after a few seconds to allow textures to cache first. We greatly appreciate your patience as we look into both these issues, and we will keep you updated here on Reddit and other channels with our progress. Thank you for your continued support and feedback. Cheers, Jim Vasella." End quote. Now, as I said, this was quite a lengthy Reddit post, but they do say that if you have an SSD drive that you should install the game on that drive, and I can confirm that I moved my install game data to my SSD and the game works much better. So if you have a SSD, just move your installation file to that drive and then the game should load much faster. Another thing that I try to do is I close all applications, although because I am recording the gameplay it uses more RAM and more data, so that might cause somewhat of a issue with the gameplay itself. But as for online play, I have not, as I said, I have not been able to play an online game so far. I've tried 3 times, none of them seem to work. Skirmish seems to work fine though, but online play is not working at this moment. And if for whatever reason I am not able to play at least 4 to 5 online matches before tomorrow, then I will definitely delay my review because or I'll do like a review in progress, because I do want to include online matches in my final review. But I mean, considering the fact that initially they wanted to include LAN support, and due to the pandemic going on, they weren't able to test LAN support because, you know, you couldn't have 20, 30, 40 people in the room to, you know, test the actual LAN mode. Stuff like this is bound to happen, you know, because everybody's working from home. So hopefully with the constant communication and the transparency from the team, hopefully going forward, we will have a lot of updates for the game, and hopefully most of these issues will be fixed sooner rather than later, because I've seen many people being upset and pissed off, to be honest, because they cannot play online play purely because the servers are not functioning well, or there's issues, or people are experiencing massive lag issues and stuff like that. Hopefully, you know, should they have delayed the game? That is up for debate. I mean, considering everything else that's going on in the world, and considering that all game events and everything is being delayed because of it, it might not have been a bad idea if they delayed the game a little bit further. But I mean, how long could they have delayed the game further without upsetting the fan base? I mean, they could have, I think they could have maybe delayed it at the most a month or maybe 2 months, and then just say, you know, they have some stability issues that they're trying to sort out, and due to them not being at the office, it's taking a little bit longer, so people must just be a little bit more patient. I mean, we've been waiting 2 years, so waiting 2 more months would not have been the end of the world. But, you know, considering that they are constantly communicating with us, and considering that many games these days release in a terrible state and then gets fixed over time, you hear all these redemption issues. Not that the Red Alert or Command & Conquer Remastered Collection is in a terrible state, not at all. I'm just saying that, you know, there is many ways how they can fix the game, and I'm glad that they're communicating, because that's the biggest thing. They must communicate with the audience, with the community. I mean, with it being EA, you have games like Anthem, which was my most anticipated game when it released, and then the Anthem Twitter account and Reddit was just pretty silent. You know, there wasn't really much communication on social media about what's going on, about what's being fixed. I mean, it was only recently that we got a blog post saying that Anthem 2.0 is coming, but it's going to be a while. So, you know, if there was, I feel with Anthem specifically, if there was constant communication saying, you know, every week there was a blog post, every Monday there was a blog post or a Reddit post saying, you know, this is what the team is doing, this is what's happening, this is when you can expect updates, I feel that fans would have been much happier, instead of being, even though there was a time where the Anthem Twitter account was silent for a month. I mean, it didn't even tweet with the 1-year anniversary of Anthem. But I don't want to make this video about Anthem, because I can talk in length about that game and what EA and BioWare did wrong with that game. But, you know, I'm just glad that Jim Vasella and the team is being transparent and being communicating with the audience, with the community, because that is the biggest thing. If Jim Vasella, for example, went silent for a week, then people would not appreciate it. People would not accept that very well. But needless to say, probably won't be long until we see our first patch which will fix stuff like that. But for now, you know, the ways to fix things are the SSD, closing out any other windows that you have open, restarting missions, and then just changing resolution and then changing it back. That seems to fix the problems. It's a frustrating issue because it's all these check marks that you have to go through before you actually can play, but hopefully it won't be long before we get our first patch. But if you've been experiencing any issues with Command & Conquer Remastered Collection, let me know in the comment sections below, and for more gaming content, check out the rest of my channel. If you enjoyed this video, then give me a thumbs up. If you dislike it, then give me a thumbs down, but please tell me why so I can improve on my videos. My name is Frank, I'm the RedTieGuy, and frankly, thank you for watching. Catch you guys in the next video.